All right, unique Mecca audio, man. I'm gonna tell you this one because y'all always calling and asking about the Jamaicans. And so I'm gonna give you one about the Jamaicans. All right. Now, I don't want to really say no names. I hate saying names. I'm just gonna say, one of the Jamaican homies, ran with my posse on the street, Shower Posse, Kingston 16 in the house. Big shout out to Tivoli and the whole nine, the Shower Posse and everything. But now we up in Lewisburg, So I'm gonna bounce back and forth between Lewisburg and, take it to the street and all that so you understand how this thing go. On the street, we was beefing hard. You got two fractions, You got you got us and we got them. The PNP. Now, when the election time was coming around, it was like crazy. We talking about in Jamaica. We used to sell drugs in Jamaica in order to sell the drugs to trade it over to get guns in order to send it back, to Jamaica, to fund the war, to make sure our homies down there that lost the war was ready for the next election time. Because election time, we got what they call vote getters. All right? A vote getter is a gun. You know what I mean? I'm talking about the bigger the gun, the bigger the vote that you're going to get, because the bigger you can stop certain things. So now we doing our thing up here. We in Brooklyn, So of course, we beefing hard. And, we lost the election in 1980. PNP lost the election. So, a lot of us came up to America. We bringing our brothers up because that's not the time to be down there because, our political party's not in office. So we up here. And then, of course, I got to say this name because y'all been asking about it. We're going to say, Delroy Uzi. Delroy Uzi came up from down Jamaica and his fraction won the war. So he felt like anybody up here in America, they owed him. They owed him. Whatever you make in America, you got to pay taxes to him because you lost the war in Jamaica, even though we no longer in Jamaica. So you can imagine that mind frame. Delroy Uzi was a one-man army. He came up, he got a bunch of Americans because, Jamaicans was real big in New York. Remember, that's when KRS-One made the song saying that the dreads in Brooklyn was crazy. But we the dreads they was talking about in Brooklyn. So it's like Delroy Uzi would drive by the store. We had a little store over there on Schenectady between Sterling and Park. Over there, Crown Heights. We doing our thing, so we in a little buck dance. Y'all remember buck dance, y'all Jamaicans from back in the day. Big shout out to Danny Barnes. Danny Barnes was the leader of the Shower Posse back then who make things happen and make things go right. You know what I say? So him sent for, one of the good man, them Chinaman. So Chinaman come up. So now they might do them things, and Chinaman, he only want to deal with weed. If we robbed the dude and we got weed and coke, all he wanted was the weed. The coke was worth way more, so we ain't had no problem giving him weed. But he came up on some straight Jamaican time that he wasn't gonna handle no white powder, whether it's coke, heroin, and none of that. He wasn't gonna poison the people. Big shout out to Chinaman. I saw him move. But now when him come up, we got Delroy Uzi who driving around. Running with, he won the war for Ciega. He was one of the alleged hitmen. So Delroy Uzi doing his thing, he moving around. And when he'll drive by the store, we out there. He didn't have Jamaicans with him. Let's get that right. He was a one-man army. So what he did was he went and got a bunch of Americans that want to be Jamaicans because like KRS said, the dreads in Brooklyn was crazy. The dreads in Brooklyn was crazy. So Delroy Uzi, he drive by the store in his little LTD tinted out window, and he got about 4 dudes in the car with him. He the only Jamaican. Everybody in the car speak Jamaican. You'll swear everybody Jamaican. The Jamaicans in the car, the dudes in the car speak better Jamaican than the Jamaicans, but they was Americans. You know what I mean? So he labeled them the rankers. The rankers, that means it stink. In Jamaica, we say tink. You know what I say? Because we don't use the TH. We just say it tink. You know what I said? So he labeled it the rankers. You know what I mean? Because he allegedly was, chopping bodies up and, going crazy with it. Look him up for those of y'all that don't know. I'm going to do something else on him later. But he's a part of this. Because this leads into the prison system. And as you know, this is a prison story. So Delroy Uzi, he moving around. When he drive through the hood, he drive through with tinted windows. He cracked the window a little bit. And he looking. If anybody out there selling drugs that's from PNP, he going to stick his gun out the window and wet up the whole goddamn block. He don't care who he hit. You know what I mean? And then he had the rankers with him. You know what I mean? Because he left niggas stinking. That's what rankers mean. He left niggas stinking. So let's get it right. You know what I mean? So now there we'll drive by and he crack the window and we see him. We out there. We used to have our little cocaine. I should have had one. I like having the props, man. I'm gonna get one next time I do one with him. And I talk about, you know, the pool hall we used to hustle at over on Schenectady. I don't want to say the name or none of that because it was named after the owner, you know. But we had the little Altoid, the little Altoid pack, the little aluminum can. You know what I mean? That you buy the little cough drops or whatever it was in it. And we used to take the heroin and we, you know, put it in the pyramid paper. We put it in aluminum foil and we made our little $10 bags. We put it in there. We sold $10 bags right there over there on Schenectady. You know what I mean? We did our thing, you know. So Delroy Uzi come by, we out there selling our thing, and as soon as he see us, he start busting at us because, you know, we wasn't paying. You know what I mean? We wasn't going for the extortion. Let's get that right. So a whole lot of killing went on. You know what I mean? Because, you know, the 90s was out there, and then that's the 90s posse. You know what I mean? I mean, we was doing our thing, man. But Delroy come by, he drive by, and we sitting out there. We got our little Altoid packs in our pocket with all the heroin in it, and we selling little $10 bags of heroin. You know what I mean? And we doing our thing, and, you know, we getting money. You know what I mean? But he felt like we supposed to give him some of that money. But now we ain't trying to give him none of that money. We definitely ain't trying to do that. You know what I mean? We earned it. It's ours. We gonna die for it. So when he come by, and we see him, everybody duck and pull out their big gun, bang, 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 and everybody shooting, bang, bang. He's shooting back, we shooting back, and he got all these Americans in the back of the car speak Jamaican better than the Jamaicans. You know what I mean? And they was trying to prove a point to Delroy that they was just as hard as the Jamaicans. And you know, wasn't nobody going hard as Jamaicans back then because we ain't had nothing to lose. We coming from an island where we chopping chickens' heads off to eat, you know what I mean? 3 times a week. You know what I mean? Where we slaughtering a pig or slaughtering a goat, so blood, you know what I mean? Head chopping off, that wasn't nothing. So whether it was a goat or a pig or whatever, it didn't matter. Either way, we was chopping it off. So next thing you know, allegedly, Delroy was responsible for chopping off heads. Allegedly. Let's get that right. You know what I mean? But this dude was the most vicious. You understand what I'm saying? I can tell you some things about him, but it's not about him. This is about a prison story. But from after us doing that and all that, everything going on, next thing you know, Donnie Bourne's him go up north. You know what I mean? He got locked up, and then Chinaman take over. So once Chinaman take over, that's when the crack era came. Because I was just talking about the heroin era. But now the crack era coming. The crack era coming, he take over, he get involved. You know, he pled guilty, so it ain't no telling. So Chinaman get involved with selling the cocaine and things like that. They move down to Texas. They start doing their thing in Texas. You check the newspapers, they try and say that it was like 1,500 murders in Texas. You know what I mean? Dudes in Texas know about, you know what I mean? The Shower Posse and, you know what I mean? The Gully Posse and the Jamaicans coming down there, lighting it up, turning it up, making it official. You know what I mean? Not bragging, just letting you know what it is. When I say official, meaning that we went down there and took over certain areas. They fought back because they men down there in Texas too, you know, as they should. But, you know, a lot of lives was lost on both sides. I wasn't down in the Texas thing because I was locked up out of Jersey. Then I came out and then I went over there to the Bronx and then I went to Harlem and did my thing and boom, boom, boom. And Delroy did him. You know what I mean? Now they come in, they lock up Delroy. Delroy get locked up and Delroy was the first Jamaican they charged under the RICO law. So he winds up with like 6, 7 life sentences and he winds up, you know, going to Marion. So while he locked up, now we out there doing our thing. Then a few of us get locked up. Then they shut down on the Shower Posse. You know what I mean? Because a couple of good brothers got killed. Maybe I'll say some names in another video, but it's a prison story. So we sitting here and, you know what I mean? We all get locked up and we in the joint and, you know, dudes started folding, the Gully Posse brought up one of the Jamaicans. He used to play the guitar like Bob Marley and sing all the Jamaican songs, but he was a good people picnic, meaning a good person's kid. You know what I mean? Picnic is a kid. So my good people picnic. So I play the guitar, but then I'm going to work up in the house and then, you know, myself to crop through the door around and make sure the thing's running right and all that. And, you know, we got the building, we doing what we got to do. But he wound up telling them, you know what I mean? They told on the Texas operation. So they went down for the Texas operation. By then, I done left them. I'm in the Bronx doing me on my own because it was getting too crazy over there. You know what I mean? So now we all get locked up and we in Allenwood. Now, when we get to Allenwood, I got one of the good brothers with me. I ain't going to say his name either. You know what I mean? It would be nice to say his name, but we got one of the good brothers down there. And he was one of them that was charged like 7, 8 murders at least in New York alone. Then Texas was charged with like 15, 20 murders. You know what I mean? But one of the homies that raised me, that raised me. I'm keeping it 100. The homie that raised me turned out to be Pepper. Pepper mean hot. Hot mean a rat. You know what I mean? He testified on the little homie that was doing all the shooting, that was his partner and all that. So being that they went on a lot of shootings, he pled guilty to his murders and told on his murders and this and that. They just wanted to bring down the whole posse, so they allowed him to tell. So he done told we all in the joint. So then now the homie come to me and he says, yo, I know you grew up with the homie in Jamaica, so I need you to holler at him, because all he got to do is write a statement recanting what he said. And if he recant what he said, then I can use that to go back to court. Tell him I ain't mad at him. I'm just trying to get out of prison. I understand he couldn't handle it. He was weak or whatever. But right now we just need him to, to write a affidavit to the courts to let them know what time it is. So I called the homie on the phone, because the homie used to pull up at my girl house and all that. I ain't know he was telling at the time. This is when I found out he was telling, because I went to Lewisburg, then 80X, and then I come home, this 99 Allenwood, and they telling me that the dude that brought me into the whole joint, they find out he no good. We're not trying to hear all that. You know what I mean? So I make the phone call and I talk to dude, because he used to bring a little $1,000, at least twice a week, by the crib, make sure I was living good in the prison and all that. So I tell him, nah, that's my man. He still look out for him. Boom, boom. I can't believe he did that. Let me holler at him. So I hollered at my man and I tell him straight up. I said, yo, what's up? They telling me you told on the little homie, boom, boom, boom. And he's like, yeah, but I did what I had to do. You know what I mean? Did what you had to do. And he's like, yeah, man. And I said, well, look, you did what you had to do. But bottom line, right now, he just needs you to write an affidavit saying he ain't had, nothing to do with it. Just switch up your words a little bit. And you know what that man actually told me on the phone? My brother. You know what I mean? Now, I know he telling, because I just found out he telling. So I'm talking to him for the first time. He bringing me $1,000, twice a week to my crib. You know what I mean? Making sure I'm good and my kids good. He said, man, yo, that nigga doing 7 life sentences. I ain't got to write no affidavit. He can't do nothing to me. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, man, how you going to say something like that, dog? You already know we don't do that. You already told the homie, said you can make it right by you coming clean saying what it is. And he's like, man, I'm not doing it. You know what I mean? I said, come on, dog. How you going to do that? It's bad enough you told her. I ain't even supposed to be talking to you. So he's like, they call me Brendan. And in Jamaica, and I'm saying Brendan. So I'm saying, yo, Brendan, me do it, my for do. You know what I mean? The man that can't catch up with me, so man, I don't worry about them. I said, yo, but I'm telling you now, man, you ain't got to bring no more money by my house. You ain't got to come by my people. Don't even come around my kids, because I don't even want to be associated with a dude like you. You know what I mean? He's like, man, I respect that, but right now I'm doing this music thing. I'm doing good. I said, man, screw that music, man. Honor your code. Honor, the word. You already know we don't tell on each other. And he's like, man, I did what I did, man. You know what I mean? So now I got to go back to the homie and tell him I talked to the homie, because he had his hopes up thinking that he might do it on the strength that he knew that he was a man before he told, thinking that maybe he'll be a man now that he's up from under the peoples. He turned around and he said he can't do it. So I tell the homie, and the homie's like, yo, Brandon, you already tried, man. Them call me Brandon because I speak American real good, and I know you. Yeah, them I call me Brandon. So I saw it, I go. So man, I worry about that. So when them tell me that, we tell them, say, yo, me can't help you. You know what I mean? I saw it, I go. So, everything good. So, I stopped talking to dude, but me and the homie in jail, we still cool and we doing our thing, you know what I mean? And, so we in the joint one day in the laundry room. So one of the Jamaicans playing the bongos on the washing machine and playing the music, and another dude, he chanting in Jamaican, and we in there having a good time, and we smoking our little weed. Yeah, so we in there smoking our little weed, and we doing what we gotta do, man. And American dude come in there from Ohio, big old country strong dude, you know what I mean? No disrespect to the country dude, but he was a big old strong dude. He come up in there and he telling us like, y'all don't belong in here. Y'all ain't supposed to be in this country. Y'all making all this noise. I can't wash my clothes. You know what I mean? So my little man was already mad that the homie wouldn't, write the affidavit to free him. So he tell him straight up. He said, yo, if you feel that way about it, you know what I mean? He pulled out the knife. You know what I mean? And he hit him, bong. So when he stabbed him, he ran out the laundry room. So when he runs out the laundry room, he go get his knife and go get his homies from Ohio. So now they come back in the laundry room, and we all in there because we waiting. You know what it is. I mean, we set it off. We ready to go to war. So he come up in the laundry room, and everybody stabbing everybody, and we going at it, and we in the laundry room so the camera can't see. Nobody can't see it, but the homies, the rest of the inmates that's in the day room, they watching this, but they looking through the glass. There's a big glass. Everything is glass so you can see. So they see the Jamaicans in Ohio dudes getting it on over there in the laundry room. Bong, bong. Everybody stabbing each other. We going at it. Blood everywhere. You know what I mean? Teeth everywhere. I mean, dudes getting their teeth knocked out, getting bust in the face with the shank and the whole nine. So when all this going down now, when the police finally see a couple of people looking, because everybody know when something going on, you act like you don't see it. You know what I mean? Because if you do, then you telegraphing, as they call it, or you dry snitching, you know. But the police seen a couple of dudes telegraphing and dry snitching. I kept turning their head looking, you know what I mean? Knowing they not going in to help the Jamaicans or the goddamn Ohio dudes. So we going at it, bang, 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 everybody going at it. They hit the douches, the police come in. When the police come running up in there, they grab everybody and they pull us all out. And you know what I mean? There's blood everywhere, knives everywhere. They take us in the joint, they lock us up. And then, you know, we did like 30 days in the hole. We come out the hole, you know what I mean? And, you know, they shipped the whole higher dudes because, you know, we was the aggressors. The way the feds work, if you're the aggressor, and no disrespect to Ohio call, if you're the aggressors and you win in the joint, you know what I mean? They're going to keep you and ship the losers. Because if they keep the losers, then everybody else is going to prey on the losers. So they keep the winners. So that's how the feds work. You understand what I'm saying? If you losing, they ship you. If you get in a fight, you lose, you get shipped. You understand what I'm saying? So now they don't ship them. So we out there, we chilling. So now we got the rep that the Jamaicans go hard. You know what I mean? Because I mean, when the police came in, we still pushing. You know, the Ohio dudes put their knife down and comply, but we wasn't complying. I mean, things just went real crazy. But we all up in the joint. So then now I call home, and you know, my kid's mother told me, yo, you know, your brother came by and he dropped $5,000 off for you. You know what I mean? So I'm like, yeah, I will just put it up when he come back, just give it back to him. You know what I mean? She's like, give it back to him. I say, yeah, give it back to him. You know what I mean? But that's because he wouldn't write the affidavit, and I already vowed I ain't gonna mess with him. So about a week later, he come by and he bring another $5,000. He think he gonna buy me to roll with him for that telling crap. You know what I mean? So my girl give him back the $5,000 and tell him, yo, you know, Unique said that, you know, he don't need nothing from you. You know what I mean? That, you know, you stay where you at and you do what you doing. You know what I mean? So now he get vexed. You know what I mean? But now me and him grew up from Jamaica from we was like 2-3 years old. So now it messed him up so much in the head that I cut him off, that now he feel the wrath of what telling is and what telling does. You know what I mean? So now he realized that he's really blackballed from the whole car. He figured if anybody would have understood, it would have been me, being that he giving me money and we go all the way back since childhood. And you know what I mean? He brought me into the, you know, the posse and the whole nine. So next thing I know, dude turned around, man, and I get a phone call from the chapel, and I go up to the chapel and I call, and it's my mother, because she grew up with his mother. And my mother on the phone with his mother and his mother crying. Dude died. Nah, he didn't get killed. He died. What happened is he was smoking cocaine and heroin, and it bust his brain. You understand what I'm saying? So now when I get off the phone, I go tell, you know, the homie, I almost said his name, and I went and told the homie that, y'all, you know, dude dead, because we already was thinking that he was going to come around to his senses, which he obviously was when he started bringing me, instead of a G a time, he started bringing me 5 G's a week instead of the G twice a week. So when I tell the homie he died, all the homie said was, man, good for him. You know what I mean? Just as straight and just as good for him. You know, but that's how it is. We don't respect people when they tell. You understand what I'm saying? That means all the love, all the work you put in, everything is washed out. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's back to bid. So now we out there in the yard, and, you know, one of the homies, the Jamaican brothers, like to play poker. So he playing poker, and I give him 10 books to go out there, and he go out, he might win 30 books, give me back my 10 books, he keep 10. I keep 10, you know what I mean? So I make a little 10 books profit on my money, and we did this every day. So we out there in the yard one day, and I'm bringing the Latin Kings in this one. So the Latin King in New York car, one of the homies from New York, he out there, and the Latin King walked by and must have got up from the table that he was at. But remember, on the East Coast, we not as geographical that this is a Latin King table or this table or that table. But this one kid was trying to push the issue that he was going to make this table a Latin King table. So, you know, the homies go out there to go play bones and stuff. So they playing dominoes. And while they playing dominoes out there, the Spanish kid Latin King kid come over there and tell them, yo, y'all got to get up from the table. You know what I mean? It's a Latin King table. He said, man, ain't nobody out here. This ain't no Latin King table. He said, yeah, we sit here every day. My homies getting ready to come out. He said, all right, when your homies come, you let them know that we playing here. He's like, nah, it's a Latin King table. So my man said, man, go ahead with that. So dude leaves, and then he come back. When he come back now, what he do is he come back, and my man is sitting there, and he stabbed him in his rib. You know what I mean? My man real thick, light-skinned dude. So he stabbed him in his rib, bomb. So when he hit him in his rib, he turned around, he looked at dude, you know what I mean? And he grabbed his hand and grabbed the shank from him. And could you believe this dude stabbed him with, you know, those little aluminum trimmings they put in front of the carpet when they put the carpet down? He stabbed him with one of them, and the joint damn near bent up. It was so weak. You know what I mean? So my man turns around and he punishes him. So when he punishes him, all the Latin Kings come out there and they start fighting with the New York car, and you know what I mean? And this big old thing going on out there in the yard till the police come. They lock everybody up. So we all get locked up. Then the Latin Kings found out that what it was all about, that it was about a table. Him telling we couldn't sit there when New York get along with Latin King. The Latin Kings is from New York. And we on the East Coast. We all family. You know what I mean? And you know, it was just one big mess after another. So the homie left his glove, dropped his glove out there because he went to put on his glove, but didn't have time to put it on because the Kings was coming from everywhere. And the glove had the 5% flag on the back. And of course, we all the blacks, we 5%ers, even a couple of the Jamaicans, we 5%ers. So when they come, you know what I mean, and they free everybody, they find the glove, you know what I mean? So when they find the glove, I'm in the unit, you know what I mean? After they lock the joint down, they come in the unit. And they let us out to go eat one unit at a time. When I go up there, the police pull me over and they gonna tell me, yo, we found this glove out there and they got your flag on it. I see you got the 5% flag. You just coming from ADX. We think you the big homie. You had something to do with it. I said, man, I don't know nothing about none of that, man. They said, well, we gonna have to lock you up. I said, well, you're gonna have to lock me up. So they grabbed me, put the handcuffs on me. They walking me down towards the hole. So we go down towards the hole and we get there and we get ready to go in. Right before they put me in, they turn around, they take the cuffs off. They say, nah, man, get head back to the unit. You know what I mean? I said, why you do all this? He said, because most people would have told by the time they took that long walk down to the shoe, knowing they get ready to be locked in solitary confinement. And we ain't got nothing on you. We got the dude that stabbed the dude that he stabbed, and we got everybody. So we going to let that ride. You understand what I'm saying? So now when I go back out there, being that I'm Jamaican, but I'm from Harlem, you understand what I'm saying? And I run with the Americans, I deal with the Jamaicans, I deal with everybody. So when we go back out there now my Jamaican homies pull up on me. They want to know what's going on because now they ready to move on to Latin Kings. You know what I mean? So now I know the Latin King shot caller. He was from Connecticut. So I go push up on him and he said, yo, we know you ain't got nothing to do with it. The homie was wrong. You know what I mean? He went and tried to push the knife. He didn't even tell us what was going on. We wasn't sanctioning, no claiming no table or none of that. So I don't know what none of that is. You know what I mean? So, you can tell your Jamaican homies to stand down that, we ain't got no problems. It's back to business as usual. Because like my man Mario X3 said, the Sereno that had on there, and make sure you tune in Friday. We're going to drop the video Friday. But, Latin King, the Sereno, like he said, you know what I mean? Nobody want to shut the jail down, you know what I mean? Because that stop money. Ain't nobody trying to stop no money, you know what I mean? So, that weekend, we wound up getting a package. So, we broke the Latin Kings off, make sure everybody eat. And you know what I mean? And we did our thing. We looked out for the Chinese. I got to tell you about the Chinese dudes, man, because the Chinese dudes had a vicious car in there too. Yeah, Chinese had a vicious car, man. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. I ain't going to be all night. I just want to give y'all something real quick. You know what I mean? Just to let y'all know what it is, man. But, the moral of this, man, stay out of prison, man. Because the same way they picked me up because they found a glove out there. You understand what I'm saying? And tried to bring me in it. You know what I mean? And the same way the Jamaicans was going to get in it, they ain't had nothing to do with it. Because even if a dude wanted to say that, Unique came with the Americans, I ain't rolling with him. He had to roll because I'm Jamaican. And you know what I mean? You got to hold the car down. Whether you want to or not, regardless what your personal feelings is, like you could be beefing with a dude. I don't care how much you beefing with a dude. You could be arguing. But if he get into it with somebody, everything stop. You roll against that person. After you take care of that incident, then you go back to not talking. But you got to know when to let it go. You know what I mean? So whether you want to let it go or not, you got to let it go. You know what I mean? So, that's what it is, man. So that's why I'm telling the youngins, don't get involved in a life of crime. Don't go to prison. because you're going to have to make choices that you don't want to make, what they call on the street peer pressure, but it ain't peer pressure because a dude going to roll with you even when you wrong. You understand what I'm saying? Because you're part of the car, he don't want nothing to happen to you at the hands of the next person. The same way a parent or a mother don't want someone else to put their hands on their child, is the same way the car don't want somebody outside the car to put their hands on anybody that's in the car, because we parented each other. This is prison. So you can't say, man, I don't like him, or I ain't got nothing to do with it, or whatever. If shit jump, it is what it is. You got to move. You know what I mean? So, I'm going to tap out, letting you know, cop the book of Ruin Harlem. Subscribe to Unique Mecca Audio TV. Unique Mecca Audio with TV at the end. Subscribe. That's where I'm going to put my prison stories and my live videos. I did a live last night for, with Fat Man Scoop, Gene Deal, Mac Mean came in, 050 tapped in. I mean, it was a nice, positive show. We did real good, man. But like I said, I'm getting ready to tap out. I just wanted to come in to give y'all something because I know it's been a minute and know what it is, man. All right. So we just going to keep it 100.
Cheers, toast the crime, toast the crime, the crime, the crime, the crime.
Fresh out the can of 26, yeah. He back on the strip, getting back in the mix. Yeah. What he mentions a gift. You stand up 10 toes down, and I suggest you pay attention to this. Real. Take a little gully posse and put it in Harlem. He cut from the bottom, came up from the bottom. Drop the book, you should go and get it. The Instagram page and the YouTube, you could go and visit. Yeah. Then you could consider yourself LinkedIn. Sit front row and get Jews from a kingpin. How he went through it, so you ain't gotta go do it. To not pay attention would be stupid. Talking about a man that probably put your grandfather on. Probably the reason that him and your grams got along. A man that generated millions on the block, did his time, never squilling to the cops, Mecca Audio. Get it live like 2 G's in the 90s. Drop top beamer so shiny. I let shorty go, she was whining. Treat her like my past, she behind me. Spend a couple bands on the Dapper Dan. You be back again, getting green like a Packers fan. No cap, it's a roaring uptown. They be horn uptown, Dominican bust downs. Now we on the positive, we got a lot to give. Now he trying to stop the kids from being inoperative. So take heed, homie, lend an ear. He started in uptown, he gon' finish dead. But now it ain't about selling drugs, buying cars. It's about buying property to make the community ours. So we can give back to the youth them. Cause they the truth them. And bless up to all the root men.